What's up guys, Manny from Motor Million. It's carbon fiber wheel time. It's carbon fiber wheel time, and it was pizza day here at Motor Million, but this is not the pizza box that we had, but this is the pizza box that we get whenever we're installing carbon fiber wheels, because we're gonna upgrade to the T-Drive rotors that are inside this Brembo box that we call pizza box. And right here we have our ProTi titanium bolts that's gonna go on for the rotor bolts. And on this episode today, we're gonna finish off what we started last episode, which was our handlebar and front fork setup, because we're gonna be installing this front wheel, lowering the bike on its own weight in the front wheel so that we could check side to side movement with those handlebars to make sure that everything clears and everything is nice. And also, we have a set of cast wheels, we have a set of forged wheels, and we have a set of bare BST StarTech wheels, which we're gonna put on the scale to see what each one weighs so that we know how much weight we're saving with these wheels. There's one more weight saving mod that we're gonna do on this episode. You're gonna have to stay tuned to see it. Enough talking, more working. Let's get this wheel on the bike. On the bike, we installed our T-Drive rotors with our ProTi hardware, and with the wheel and everything else on the bike right now, it's looking really good because our gold forks are now contrasted by that beautiful full 6 carbon fiber, and our machine fork legs on those Olin's fork are looking really, really good. So I haven't tightened the calipers. We're gonna talk about calipers in a little bit because we might be upgrading those calipers in a future episode as a phase 2 part of this build, but that's quite way down the road. Now, we're gonna lower that front end down. We're gonna test the range of motion in the handlebar to make sure that nothing is interfering with our fairings. And I'm gonna continue on installing our reservoirs, doing the plumbing and bleeding the brake and the clutch master cylinder. Then, we're gonna get to the weight of the wheels. I'm gonna pull our scale out, weigh the carbon fiber BST StarTech wheels, the forged by Ducati wheels that's available on the S model and is an aftermarket edition from Ducati themselves, and the cast wheels that we took off this base model 2025 Panigale V4. But before that, let me get working on everything that I mentioned, and then when I check back in, we'll have our scales out and we'll figure out how much weight these carbon fiber wheels save. I'm losing my voice, but this bike has gained a whole lot of amazing parts on the front end. As I mentioned on our previous video, almost everything in the front end is brand new on this motorcycle. Well, the day has come for a particular part to be removed off this motorcycle, which you'll see in a second, and I'm sure you want to see what I'm seeing over here. Let me get on the bike, let's take a look at this custom handlebar setup that we have, and then I'll show you what's coming off and why it's coming off. Guys, you can't see my face, but you can at least see what's making me smile. This front end setup that we've done on this motorcycle is, so far, I think my favorite we've done so far. You've seen our Rizoma mounts that we make for our reservoirs that we tap into our upper triples. It worked beautifully with this new DBK upper triple. These Olin's forks are peeking out and just screaming out premium now for this handlebar setup that we have. The Jet Prime button pods that we have are looking racy, but they have all the street functions that we want. Our master cylinders are all bled, and let's do a quick check, right? I haven't played around with the buttons yet, so let's do the most basic functionality of them, which is our turn signals. Let's make sure everything is working because everything is plugged in. Our right turn signal, our left turn signal, that's really good. So let's get to the part that let's check the range of motion to see if you have full range of motion, because once you put something this custom, you have to make sure nothing interferes And luckily on the 2025 Panigale V4, it's not a lot of work because everything just came out pretty good without having to do any minor adjustments. So I'm going all the way left and I'm going all the way right, and there's interference, guys, and that's the part that we got to get out. I don't know if you saw this button pod, the way that I have it hits the mirror. And for those of you guys, time to rejoice because this mirror is going to have to come off. On the next episode, we'll put our turn signals, which are going to go right here, which are the Rizoma ones. But I'm going to remove the mirrors at the end of this episode. But now let me grab our cast wheel set, our forged wheel sets, and our BST StarTech wheels that we have, and our scales, so that we could see what each one of them weighs, so we know how much weight we've saved. Then I'm going to remove this mirror, and there's one more weight saving mod that we're going to do while our scales are out. And just like that, we have all the available wheel options over here, and we have our scales. What we're going to do is we're going to run through the wheels and check the weights, and just for good measure, all the wheels will be weighed with their valve stems and with the respective spacers that they get installed on the motorcycles, so that we have the true weights of the wheels. Because don't forget, you can't install a rear wheel without the sprocket carrier, nor can you run a wheel without the spacer. So we have all of them here. So let's run the wheels, right? Stock cast wheels that are on the V4 base models of the 2025 Street Fighter V4 and the Panigale V4 are optional forged wheels that come stock on the 2025 Panigale V4S and the Street Fighter V4S models, except we have them in colored options, which you can get as an accessory. These are the gray ones. Back here are the gold ones. What comes on the bikes are the black ones. They all weigh the same. And last but not the least, we have the BST StarTech wheels right here. Obviously on our bike over here, we install the gloss wheels. These are the optional satin finishes. So let's start off. We're gonna start off with the cast wheels. Let's see what they weigh. I have my pen and paper handy because it's going to be a lot of numbers for me to remember. So here we go. The stock cast wheels. This is this front wheel right here. We're going to put them on our scale. And this is our spacers for the stock cast wheels in the front. And the front one is weighing in at 8.84 pounds. Cast front 8.84 pounds. Let me get this off. Let's get the spacers and put them aside. And let's do our rear wheel now. This is going to be our cast rear wheel. One spacer's on it, on one side. Let's put it on here. And then we have our other rear spacer on here. And I'm going to grab our stock sprocket carrier and put it on top. The rear wheel is weighing at 13.38 pounds. I'm going to grab my phone's calculator, and we're going to go ahead and total it together. 8.84 plus 13.38 pounds. That's a nice even number, 22.22 pounds for the cast wheels. Next, I'm going to get these off of here. That's quite heavy actually, but they are cast wheels. Let's grab our forged wheels. It's going to require more things to be put on the scales. Let's put away our spacers. Let's grab our forged wheels. I mean, these colors are beautiful too. It's the silver color. This is the forged wheel. And I'm going to put the spacers back on because it uses the same spacers as the cast wheel. I'm going to put our valve stems on one of them. And our forged wheel front is weighing in at 7.06 pounds. That's already a pound and a bit lighter than the cast wheels. Now we're going to grab the rear wheel. Again, these are beautiful finishes. Much nicer than the stock black ones, if you ask me. I'm going to grab our rear spacer and this spacer. And let's see if I could pull the spacer off the wheel. This is the other spacer. And our valve stem on it. Let's see what the rear is weighing in at. It's 11.24 pounds. And quickly, I don't need a calculator for this math. and total is 18.30 pounds. That's 3.88 pounds lighter than the cast wheel for the total of the forged wheels. And I'm just gonna take all this away again, and we're gonna grab our BST carbon wheels once I clear all this off. And these BST carbon wheels have the spacers on them. They have the valve stems already on them. So let's put it on our scale. The front wheel is 6.20 pounds. Let's grab our rear wheel. This is our rear wheel. Again, it has the spacer on the outside. It has the spacer on the inside. And we have two of our cush drives in here. So we're gonna grab two cush drives out. And this is the rear sprocket carrier and the rest of the cush drives on top of it. Let's see what this weighs. It's weighing in at 9.10 pounds. It's coming in at a featherweight 11.30 pounds. So let me just look at all my papers that I have here, and let's go over the numbers together again. They're flying everywhere just because they're getting scared of the numbers that we have here. So the cast wheels are weighing at 22.22 pounds. And then the forged wheels are 18.3 pounds. So that's, I did the math earlier, pretty good. Now I'm kind of going to fail on it. It's 3.88 pounds lighter, if I may say. Correct me if I'm wrong. They'll correct me on the editing, I guess. If I get a big zonk on it, it means that I said it wrong. And the BST StarTech carbon fiber wheels in total are 11.30 pounds. It's almost half the weight of the cast wheels. Not exactly half the weight, but almost there. And it's exactly 7 pounds lighter than the lightweight forged wheels that are on the S models. That's a crazy weight savings, and I can't wait to install a rear wheel on this bike on the next episode so that I can report back and tell you guys how big of a difference it makes to have wheels that is half the weight. Because don't forget, guys, this was the base model that came with those boat anchor of wheels. That's 22.22 pounds. And that was some really good info, guys. I didn't even know what these things weighed until we put them on the scales. Now, I'm actually gonna grab the stock battery out of this bike and put this scale to good use one more time to see how much weight we're gonna save with our anti-gravity battery. I'm gonna get you to pause this video, comment down below to see if you can guess how much weight we're gonna save with just a battery change on this motorcycle. Let me grab that battery, let's put it on the scale, and let's see how much weight we save. All right, I have our stock battery here. It's weighing in at 5.44 pounds. Let's write that down. And then we're gonna grab our anti-gravity battery. I can already tell you that this is super light. And it's weighing in at 1.52 pounds. And let me do the quick math over here with my calculator. And if you guess that we're gonna save 3.92 pounds, you are correct. So that's 3.92 pounds. And that's quite odd because we saved 10.92 pounds with our cast wheels that we removed and installed the BST StarTech wheels. And now we've saved 3.92 pounds with our anti-gravity battery. If I do the math again with my phone, that means a total weight savings of 14.84 pounds. And don't forget, the battery sits so high up on the bike, it probably has a bigger effect than just removing 3.92 pounds off your motorcycle. But on that note, I'm gonna go and install this battery on our motorcycle. And I wanna remind you that if you pick up an anti-gravity battery, lithium batteries do not need trickle chargers. Do not put it on a trickle charger that you have. You make sure you get yourself your preferred lithium battery charger to keep it charged in. We prefer the C-Tech lithium chargers that are specifically sold for these batteries. They've been used on forever on these expensive $1 million, $500,000 cars, because those cars don't get driven much and the batteries die, the whole electronic goes off. So you might want to also pick up the CTEK lithium charger as well. And don't forget, we did our front wheel, our handlebar setup completely today on this episode. There's one more episode where we install our rear wheel on this motorcycle along with a couple supporting mods. And there's one really cool upgrade that we're going to do to make that swing arm look even better than it already is on the next episode. Until then, if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Until next time, guys, have a good one. All right, guys, I'm back because I want to show you, this question most likely will come up. How do we get this battery in place and make sure it's secure with the system that the stock battery has? The stock battery has this tongue and groove system which holds it in place. It doesn't have a traditional tie down for the battery or that little belt thing or the rubber thing that we're used to with the previous generation Panigale V4s or the Street Fighter V4s. So other than that, also, don't drill your cable ends. You could actually use the stock hardware off your battery. I put the block in, and to hold the block, there is a little piece of foam that's in here that I put in. I just took it off the packaging and I cut it and I just fit it in here so that block is levitated, so that when I try to put that bolt in there, it's just going to be going into that block without having to find that block, because it probably won't fit. That way you're going to have a hard time, or you're going to have to pull it up somehow. So secondly, you see this battery doesn't have that tongue place. Put your battery in place, and the batteries come with these foamies that you have that are double-sided taped, and this is your battery cover. This battery is pretty securely in place, even just like this, because I can't see this moving around. But yes, what if you take a big jump and the bike lands? I think you're going to have bigger problems than your battery maybe moving around. But for the added benefit of making sure your battery is really secure, take these foam pads and put them under your battery cover that we just took off. And that way, the battery cover is actually pretty tightly held with bolts and screws on this motorcycle that you will actually push that battery down. I thought this question is definitely going to come up, so that we decided to interrupt you at this end of this video. So let me get this installed. Let me hook it up to our CTEK charger so that it's fully freshened up before we even take this out for a ride. But before that, I'll see you next episode when we're putting this wheel on this motorcycle.